Yo, what's going on YouTube? Hayden back making another brand new Crypto TV episode. In today's video, we have a ton of stuff to talk about. So let me explain really quick. So we're going to be talking about the Litecoin USD technical analysis, Bitcoin to USD, Ethereum to USD, Tron to USD, because I like Tron right now. We will also be checking out basically Litecoin creator Charlie Lee is making crypto, or making Litecoin in specific, more private. So I do want to discuss that. Then we will also be looking at another article, basically crypto smartphones hit Japan as Alibaba awards startup powering payments in Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, and Ethereum. So that's huge to talk about too, because Alibaba, as we know, is the biggest freaking, it's bigger than Amazon. It's massive, the biggest merchant seller like in the world. Then to end today's episode, obviously we're going to be talking about this. I haven't made a review actually on this. Obviously, hopefully you guys have seen previously, I did make an unboxing video of the Trezor hardware wallet, but I did not go in depth as to how to start it up. So at the end of today's video, if you watch it through, or you could skip ahead, you will see an overview and how to set up the Trezor Nano wallet, or the Trezor hardware wallet. So lastly, to wrap things up, expect in the next couple of days a review of the Elipal, another hardware wallet. They just sent this out to me. It looks absolutely phenomenal, guys. I can't wait to show you. But furthermore, let's jump into today's episode. So currently we're on the coin market cap right now, guys. I just refreshed the page. Market cap is 113.3, 24-hour volume is 17.9, Bitcoin dominance is 53.4%. Also, before I explain the coin market cap, I forgot to mention, we will also, or actually I will also, I'm in the process of creating a Patreon to help you guys gain access to my my trading view charts. I think it's probably the best thing for me to do, and it's a good way for you guys to follow along with me. So I'll definitely keep you guys posted on that, and I'll let you know when it's actually up and running so you guys can check it out. And otherwise, let's just move back onto this. So 113.8, 24-hour volume 17.9, Bitcoin dominance 53.4%. So we are seeing around the same Bitcoin dominance. 24-hour volume is actually taking a slight dip. So we're seeing the market kind of, settle down and kind of trade sideways, get a little more stable. Market cap has also dipped quite a bit, but it is starting to go up. I believe yesterday we went to 112 billion, which is about an $8 billion drop, currently at 113.3. So we're seeing about a small recovery right now within the market. So prices should be slightly higher than where they were yesterday. As I scroll down, you can see we are seeing a majority of the market in green. Top 10 coins, only 3 out of the 10 are actually in red. So it doesn't look that bad in my opinion. Obviously Litecoin holding number 7 by the skin on its teeth, but it is one of the top gainers for the top 10 cryptos. The top one is EOS, up 3.55% at $2.31, and the biggest loss, or the biggest loser, is Stellar, down 3.88%. But Litecoin is doing quite well, hold its $30 support quite well, up at $31. So definitely an interesting move, and we're definitely going to have to look at things in a little more detail in a couple of minutes. Also, guys, one more thing. If you haven't already checked out the link in the description, the ABRA app link, basically it's an exchange for the iPhone or Android. It's super cool. They're doing a program right now, or a promotion, which is basically if you deposit $5 worth of USD from a bank account into Bitcoin, they'll actually reward you with $25. I've already done this. I've sent it to my friends. A bunch of you guys have already done that. So shout out to you guys. I do appreciate that. But definitely jump on that link really soon. It literally ends in the next, I think, week or two, and then it's gone forever as far as I know. So who doesn't like getting $25 of free Bitcoin? Definitely check the link out, deposit the $5, and bam, you'll get rewarded 25 of Bitcoin. Otherwise, let's keep going on. Furthermore, moving on to today's topic of discussion, Charlie Lee decided to make Litecoin more private. So let's kind of discuss what exactly he did. So basically, Charlie Lee, the creator of Litecoin, declared that he will focus on making the major cryptocurrency more fungible in a tweet that he posted yesterday night. Lee stated in the tweet that fungibility is the only property of sound money that is missing from Bitcoin and Litecoin, adding the next battleground will be on fungibility and privacy. The tweet's conclusion is that the developer wants a zero in on implementing implementing private transactions in Litecoin, stating, I am now focused on making Litecoin more fungible by adding confidential transactions. So what does that mean? That's pretty much, Bitcoin used to be very private, but it's kind of straying away from that. Right now, Monero is probably one of the most private coins out there that I know of. So he's trying to make it more private so he can gain a bigger access to the market and the amount of users that use Litecoin or that would prefer to use Litecoin. So otherwise, he said, in reply to another tweet in the same thread, Lee explained that confidential transactions could be added to Litecoin through a soft fork. A soft fork is a modification made in a cryptocurrency source code that doesn't lead to the division of a blockchain, as happens with a hard fork. Lee also noted in the same thread that the update would be implemented sometime in 2019, obviously this year. Fungibility is the propriety of money that implies that every unit of a given asset has exactly the same value as any other asset of the same kind of unit. As Cointelegraph previously reported before, Bitcoin's fungibility has previously been called into question when particular Bitcoins become tainted by their involvement in criminal activity, which can decrease their value. So-called privacy coins, like we talked about, Monero, Zcash, Dash, were purposely created to improve perceived issues with Bitcoin and other altcoins, such as a lack of sufficient anonymity and fungibility. So basically, Litecoin is currently the 7th largest crypto in the market, seeing about 2% growth on the day of this article that was created. Furthermore, to wrap things up with the article talk, crypto smartphones hit Japan as Alibaba awards startup powering payments in Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, and Ethereum. Very interesting article, guys. Something definitely to take note of. I know I am. So Sirin Labs says it will begin selling its blockchain-based Finny smartphones in Japan this year as part of a goal to sell 100,000 units globally, which is huge. Sirin Labs CEO founder Mosh Hogig told Cointelegraph the company has already moved 16,000 pre-sale units, which is huge. So if they can sell 100,000 units as their first goal, it will be a success. The startup says its phone supports blockchain or Bitcoin and Ethereum and has a security feature that detects that blocks suspicious connections, making it safe for users to execute mobile crypto transactions. In addition, Finny's built-in cold storage wallet is designed to be more secure for crypto than ordinary Android smartphones, so it's definitely a good idea. Even if the smartphone itself is hacked, its cold storage is running on a different iOS or OS, and it is difficult to hack. Not iOS, that's like iPhone and Apple. So it's $1,000 and about $100,000 Chinese or Japanese yen. Finny offers owners access to transactions through the built-in wallet and decentralized applications for store D-apps such as popular CryptoKitties and other applications like that. So here's my take on that. It's kind of interesting. It's definitely a good idea. I'm surprised they sold 16,000 units already. But my take on it is, I'm going to be reviewing the Trezor, and I'm going to be reviewing the Elipal. And those are cold storage hardware wallets that you put your money on and you lock them in a safe and you keep it safe, just like you would a gold bar. You wouldn't carry a gold bar around all the time. Yes, putting it in a smartphone is a little more anonymous. Not many people will know, oh, he has $5 grand of Bitcoin on that wallet, but people lose their iPhones or people lose their phones. People get them stolen. People get them broken. Those are things you don't really want to worry about when you have $5,000 of Bitcoin on your cell phone. An iPhone is already $1,500. Do you really want your phone to be $6,500 with $5,000 worth of Bitcoin on it? I personally would be kind of worried about that. That's a lot of money to be holding on your phone. And I'd probably be a little more secure and comfortable if I just left it in my safe and completely forgot about it. Or not forgot about it, but knew it was well protected. So that's kind of my take on it. Definitely a good idea, though. Let me know down in the comments what you think about this. Furthermore, moving on to Litecoin's technical analysis. Obviously, you guys can see my charts here. So we're trading in between this channel right now. Quite interesting. You saw previously we did actually break through it, and then we did fall below. It's unfortunate that that happened, but it is what it is. It's definitely showing that we're having a very, 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 very strong line of resistance. This $33 line is huge, acting as a lot of resistance on cryptocurrency, on Litecoin in specific. And you can see in this ascending triangle, it tested that, could not close the daily candle, and it fell. Nothing to be too worried about. We fell down, retested the $30, which is a very strong support, and we retraced back up to currently $30.73. It actually hit the line, which was around $29, $29.90, $30. pulling the RSI to around 45, which makes it neutral and gives it plenty of potential to move back up. So I'm honestly anticipating some sort of move back up and another retest at 33. I do think in the short term, we should be able to retest 33 and eventually break through. The longer we test this, the more so chance we have of breaking up. I do think we're going to go back up to our high-low MMA, retesting around $37, $36.50 in that area. But I am seeing a move like that. And like I said, guys, you know, it's hard to view these charts when I'm talking about them. That's why I do plan on making these shareable and allowing you guys on Patreon to be able to, you know, check them out and actually be able to use them. So definitely stay tuned. A lot of cool things coming for the channel. But I'm definitely anticipating some sort of move in between this channel, retesting $33 very soon and a potential break to around 37. Furthermore, moving on to Bitcoin summary. Bitcoin's taken a little bit of a dip, guys. You know, we had this downtrend right here. We had this descending triangle. We did break bearish through here, sent the high-low MMA, or sorry, the RSI to around 34, which is pretty darn low. I do think we're going to start to retrace. It's kind of near a resistance, or sorry, it's kind of near a support. We have a pretty big resistance that I want to talk about now. You can see it fell right to around here. You can see where there was previous support. That's kind of where its wick retested. And we broke resistance up at 35. That's going to be an issue, guys. You know, we have previously resistance over here, and it took quite a long time, a couple of days actually, from the 9th to the 18th, about a little over a week to retest that and break through. But we did in quite an extravagant, you know, boom. So it is possible we're going to see that again, but definitely 35 is going to be a bigger problem now. It's going to be a resistance level. It's going to be something we're going to have to get through, retest, and hopefully break through and move up to a higher level. If we do manage to do that, $3,700, $3,650 is going to be, you know, the iffy zone where it's going to start to see a couple of issues, more resistance there. But, you know, in the long term, guys, I am pretty bullish on the market. You know, if I just zoom out really quick, you guys can see how low we are actually from our high-low MMA. We are still trading sideways, though, guys. You can see right here, we are still, you know, trading out for the most part in the more macroeconomic wider view of things. We're trading sideways. We're still, you know, not necessarily broken out of the downtrend. We're still in this downtrend, and I do think over time we are going to consolidate out. We're going to retest this downtrend, and most definitely we should break through it. That's what, you know, it's not a long-term thing. We're not bearish forever. There will be a time where we do break through. It might take a couple of months, but eventually we should see some sort of crossover here. You know, this downtrend, though, this high-low MMA is going to be a pretty big issue, but obviously when this gets closer, I'll make a better call. This is in March, middle of March. You know, that's a long time from now. I can't really make a call 2 months into the future. I just can't do it. But for the most part, what I'm calling is we're going to see some sideways movement. It is still possible that we could see a run up to $4,000 easily before we test that downtrend. But for the most part, we're going to be hit by this, and it's going to be pretty difficult. But I do have hope. I do have faith that Bitcoin in the long run is going to be moving up at a pretty high rate. One thing that I just noticed is there's a double bottom actually on Ethereum. So I do just want to put that in here. Bam, right there. Let's see if there's previous support. Yeah, you can see right here where we had this kind of reversal right here. There is support. You can see that's kind of where we fell to. Pretty big leap. I did say that in the long term, I was actually anticipating Ethereum to fall to $80. So I'm quite surprised that we didn't go that low. Now I do want to pull up really quick the RSI. You can see we're currently at around 35-ish, 35 on the RSI, which gives us pretty more room to go up, actually. You know, I was calling 80. Now, we still could hit there, but we would be extremely oversold, and then we would head up. But, you know, we're nearing oversold right now, which gives me potential. We're probably going to hang out in this channel right here and probably break through 114 again pretty soon. But you saw the descending triangle that was forming here, and we did see a big move that happened. So it is catching over. We're nearing oversold. So I do think in a relatively short term, we're all going to start to head up, guys. You know, in all the markets, long term, I do think we're going to get back above our high-low MMA, no matter if it takes a long time. But, you know, you could see, I could easily see Ethereum heading way above 140 and in the long term. So just have a little bit of patience. Lastly, to wrap things up, guys, we're checking out, you know, Tron to BTC. You can see there is an ascending triangle forming. You can see resistance at the top here. 1, 2 points of resistance. You know, this is declaring that this is some sort of resistance level, a strong one at that. There is an ascending triangle. If I was to buy in, I'd wait for it to retouch, you know, this uptrend before I buy in. I'd wait for it. It'd probably hit it, and then it would, you know, move back up and retest. That's pretty much what I'm calling, so I'm waiting for that. Furthermore, you know, if you guys did or were interested in watching the Trezor review, I'm going to play it after this, so stay tuned for that. Otherwise, I will see you guys in tomorrow's episode. Peace. What's going on, YouTube? Hayden back with another brand new Crypto TV video. I wanted to make a follow-up video really quickly for you guys. Basically, a couple of days ago, or a couple of weeks ago, I made a Trezor hardware wallet review, but I never really went through the process on the computer. So I wanted to update you guys in today's video, basically showing you guys how exactly I went around doing that. For starters, if you wanted to get onto the website, you go on trezor.io/start. It says it when you buy the box. It says it on the code, or it says it in one of the forms on it. Obviously, if you guys wanted to purchase one of these, you could check out the link in the top of the description. Otherwise, let's move on. As you guys can see, new firmware successfully installed. You may now unplug your Trezor. Installing Trezor software on the Trezor.io if you ever decide to purchase one of these. The next step is to create a new wallet. Then it says preparing your Trezor. If you already had a wallet, you would click recover wallet. And now my Trezor is ready. As you guys can see, this is what the loadout screen looks like. It is pretty cool. As you can see, I wanted to create a backup so that if I ever lost the Trezor, I would be able to still access my funds. So basically it's saying you want to write down your recovery seed, and it's going to show you a combination of 12, 18, or 24 words. And you have to write them all down on the piece of paper that comes in the package. You can see device label, and there are 24 boxes. You want to write these all down and then continue to the next step. It then asked you to basically create a name for your Trezor. Obviously, I chose Crypto TV. And then the next thing we're going to choose is choose a strong PIN to protect your device from unauthorized access in case somebody accidentally stumbles upon your Trezor or they are purposely looking for it. I'm not gonna lie, I actually love that my Trezor now displays Crypto TV. I think that is a beautiful touch that Trezor decided to do. And as you can see, your PIN has now been set.